Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another 3D Thursday. You got myself, Noe Ruiz here. I'm a designer at Adafruit, and you got Pedro over here, my brother. What's up, man?
What's going on, everybody? I'm Pedro Ruiz, the creative tech here at Adafruit, and every week we come to bring you 3D printing designs and projects
And
featuring
techniques.
electronics from
Show and
Adafruit.
tells. Lots of cool stuff today, folks. As you can see, we have haircuts. We're shiny and new and fresh. We look approachable, I think. Okay.
Wife's happy with it.
Yeah, right.
So let's go ahead and start off each show with the segments that we're going to talk about.
Yeah,
Start off each show with a lovely assortment.
Okay.
Take a look. Start off with what are you prototyping, which is some of the behind the scenes of future projects that we're working on.
I think it's in front of the scene. We're in front of the scene, and then we go behind it. And then we're going to jump into the layer by layer. It just sort of overflows into that now. It's
It's just going to leak in there since it's an overview of some updates from last week.
Yeah, some cool CAD stuff there, folks. We got some 3D news.
That's right. Every week we scour the net for some interesting stories to bring to you guys.
We scour the net. Scour. We got Shop Talk. This is a new one that we've had it once, but this time we're bringing it back. We got some new products.
Yeah, it's
in
more
the
of
shop.
a new product.
We'll talk about the shop. We're gonna play around with this one and see if you guys like it. And then, of course, we'll end the show off with the Q&A. We'll answer your YouTube questions here on the show.
That's right. We had a bunch over the last week for the two projects that just came out.
The
And
first
as
thing,
always, we have a coupon code.
This week it's Power Boost, folks, in honor of the predecessor to the Minty Boost. This is the Power Boost. Comes in many different shapes and sizes, and it's the star of the show.
That's right. Use the coupon code PowerBoost during checkout. You get 10% off on all of your 3D printing accessories, printers, and of course, electronic projects to bring your projects to life.
That's right. Now let's swipe back to us, and we're gonna do our prototype segment. Yeah.
Yeah, let's start off with
Prototype.
last week's launch, the little Pocket Pie Girl.
Hey, folks.
First thing everybody asked for was...
Oh my God. Even Lamar was like, hey, let me ask you an annoying question. Why only 2 buttons? Why not?
Well, there's actually all these buttons up here, but it's not very ergonomical after you spend a lot of time.
After playing a lot, I was like, yeah, we need to make this 4 buttons.
Unfortunately, it's not as easy as just cutting a hole and sticking
Oh
all
yeah,
those
you guys
buttons
saw.
in.
You guys saw. I have 2 layer by layers up. One on just moving stuff around to accommodate for the components, and then this one talks more about the D-pad and some of the cool design iterations that went into that one. So it's actually now it's got these raised edges. It's got a nice divot in there. It feels so nice when you're playing it, folks. This is straight from the original SNES controller, and most game pads you'll notice that they have this sort of raised edge. It feels so good on your hands. Having it flat like that, it's like your hand hurts after a little bit. With Ninja Flex it didn't hurt as much, but with a hard button it hurts, man. So this is what's cool about this one is this will work, the D-pad specifically will work with hard PLA and Ninja Flex, which is TPE filament. And then these two, of course, have their own Ninja Flex version and a hard button version, just because you want to have these separate from one another. Very cool project. You can pick it up now.
Very quick, we are getting the purple Ninja Flex in the shop pretty soon.
Yeah, we already have the silver Ninja Flex, which I really like, and it's cool to have purple now as well, that we're going to get soon. Very cool stuff.
Awesome.
Check it out.
Check out the layer by layer if you want to look at some of the work that goes into adding more buttons. Like we said, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, and it's a little bit taller, just a teeny bit by about 4 millimeters, I think. So not bad, but pretty cool.
Move the speaker around.
Yeah.
A lot of things get moved around when you update and add little components in there.
So check it out. The guide is updated as well, so you folks can check that out and get the files. Pedro, you got some cool stuff as well.
So this week's project has already been updated. We released it last week to sort of try to capitalize on
capitalize?
Yeah, sort of. Everybody was getting their second batch of Apple Watches in, so we just wanted to get this out. And everybody was asking, does it work with a wired charger, or a device that's
You're
wired?
answering like 5 questions right now.
Yeah. So yes, it does. You can. The PowerBoost 1000C comes with the little female USB connection there. So again, not simply, but had to. I think it took about 2 days to completely update this. Have the little cut-ins for the USB that goes in there. A lot of the standoffs need to be raised up since the wires are now connected to the bottom of the PowerBoost. not the notch for the Qi charger had to be moved around. And if that was enough, we made this guy wearable. So we added a cool little clip on there, so you can just sort of just clip that on. Maybe have like a pocket protector, like a. But yes, you can actually charge the wired device and your wireless device at the same time.
Oh, wow.
So pretty cool there. This does work.
Look at that, folks. Zoom.
The updated STL files and the original solids are available on learn.adafruit.com. Yeah. The instructions have been updated as well. So very cool there. We'll actually sort of leak into the layer by layer for this week's project.
All right, so here's the CAD files that you folks can get, and you open up the file. This is, of course, Autodesk 123D Design.
It's also up there on the left. So one of the cool things that we added was the clip that actually snaps into the cover. So if you already printed this out, you're going to have to update these parts.
Just those two? Okay.
Yeah, so we had to add the additional standoffs that hold the clip in place. We have the little slot there that goes into the little cutout hole. It's about 1.5 millimeters that goes in there. And that's so that it doesn't like wiggle around. Doesn't go anywhere.
Cool.
Doesn't
and the
swivel.
What's the offset for the opening? Some folks might want to know what's the good offset.
So it's 0.2, and it has it snaps in there very nice and snug.
Yeah. Did you have to sort of file the opening?
No,
it's
no.
friction based. It
yeah,
snaps right into
of
place.
course, this is dependent on your guys' tolerances.
Your print settings as well,
and how good leveled your printer is too.
Okay. Yeah, I had the similar approach, folks, with the servo tail project. So the good way to make a clip is to use those two parts and snap into the back cover, and then of course the standoff. So pretty cool.
Yeah. So in addition to the back cover, we also had to update the frame that attaches to the main case. We had to add the standoffs for there, and we're using number 2 56 screws,
really
so they're
small
quite
screws.
Small. And of course, we had to add the cut-ins for the USB little female connector. It fits quite snug in there.
Anything else?
The cables that now run underneath the cable or the power boost to connect to the USB, the female USB. We had to accommodate space for that, so we had to raise it by about 2 millimeters.
Okay, a little bit of clearance for folks right there.
Yeah, just things you always have to think about when you add one thing. It's a lot more than just one little simple piece. In addition with that, the frame actually had to be a little bit higher to accommodate the USB connection on there.
Yeah, sure.
Let me just hide some of that. So in addition to that, the little cavity that holds in the Qi charger had to be updated. And a nice little tip there, because we need it raised, we don't have to waste filament or material.
Oh, if it was if you just pulled the surface of the bottom of the cylinder,
yeah, you'd waste a lot of
material. You would have a lot of infill there.
Yeah,
so you don't need that, huh?
Just make a simple little X to sort of raise the whatever object you want to.
If you take apart remote controls, you'll see that being done a lot of ways, like with batteries and stuff to elevate them. So that's a really cool tip too. Sort of manufacturing.
Yeah, so the little cutout for the Qi charger had to be moved around, and the overall frame of that had to be raised up by about 3 millimeters to accommodate the additional USB and the cables that are now underneath. Little things to note are just like the way that the pegs snap in there. We showed that last week, and it's in the video too, of how all that snaps in together. Again, it's about 2.2 difference for the outer shell of the cylinder that connects all that together.
So the face, if I wanted to modify the face, maybe I don't like a mustache, can I do that?
Yeah, so all the files are, as you can see here, you can move all around any of the cutouts. And one cool tip too, if you want to design around the LEDs that are the indicator LEDs for the power boost, the left eye indicates when it's charging, and over here on the right eye you can see the status charge of that and the battery status of that too. So if you want to design, have a different design that incorporates the LEDs in there, just keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's cool.
And all the files, original solids, you can cut out, are available on our learn.adafruit.com.
Yeah.
Search for the wireless charger and you can get the files for that. Edit these, add your own design.
Pretty cool.
And you can, of course, take all the widgets if you want to use the components on a different project. Definitely check that out.
If you folks make this project, please go ahead and post it up on the Thingiverse remix or make. We'd love to see that and share it on the show. Very cool. All right. I think it's going to be it for Layer by Layer.
Yep.
Okay, let's go ahead and check out the next segment.
Let's jump into 3D news.
We're going to jump into 3D news. And now we're going to start off with a pretty cool project that we saw in Thingiverse. This is a dump truck. Not just any dump truck.
This is a, what is it, 777?
This is the dump truck.
Caterpillar dump truck.
Caterpillar dump truck.
So, of course, I have a kid, so I'm quite fascinated by the way that the design that goes into toys.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, the only thing that's limited really is time and the bed size.
Yeah.
And, of course, the price, because something like this probably costs like $12, and this probably takes,
12 hours.
12 hours to
for
print.
one part.
Yeah, it's, but nonetheless, it's very cool to see, completely 3D printed large toys like this. This was designed by, in Onshape by Seth, how do you say his last name?
Makzydlowski. He's an industrial designer and mechanical engineer, but it's pretty cool that he made it. He had like a brochure. he did a 1/156 scale of it. So that's really cool. It was printed, what was it printed on?
So this is a Persia i3.
Okay, from Maker Farm.
Yeah, and this was designed actually in Onshape. So he wanted to test that out.
Onshape is a new sort of CAD software.
Browser-based CAD software. So
it is.
Looks
It's
like
pretty interesting. You have to sign up, for like a private beta. So I'm going to check that out, I think, in the coming weeks to see how this fares. When you compare this to Tinkercad, it looks like it's got a lot of cool stuff. You got like layers and stuff on the side. That's a big plus. We don't even get that in 123D. But tell me about some of those things that he did to make it print well.
Yeah, so he's pretty adamant about not using support material.
Okay.
So a lot of the pieces are cut out perfectly. He's using metal rods.
Oh, for the axles, that's right. That's a really good approach, folks, to use some metal in your work so that it's sturdy and won't break. Especially with a kid toy, like if you see, they're playing, they're pushing it down, throwing it around. Yeah. So good work on that one.
Yeah, no word if the tires were actually printed in NinjaFlex or not, but
I see the tires there. Yeah, totally good use for NinjaFlex.
Yeah, so he was so adamant about not using or avoiding support materials that he actually made a little shape so that he can bend the railings into shape.
Okay, with a heat gun. This is really cool. So
it's printed in PLA, so he's able to
just heat it up a little bit and bend it.
Mm-hmm.
You could also do that with hot water. We've done some tests with that.
And this is a little bit more precise since he's using an actual shape.
Yeah, I like that he used the shape to actually bend it. So that's really cool. And here are all the pieces and some of the hardware. Very cool little kit design, I think. And of course, it was designed in that Onshape Beta 3D CAD software. It's based on the browser. That's really cool. We like that stuff.
Definitely want to try to test this out on the Type A.
Yeah.
Print a pretty big one.
Pretty cool.
So
all right, cool. Check that out. It's on Thingiverse if you want to download your own dump truck. All right, moving on. Here's something cool. What is this?
This is some Bronzefill Patina processing.
Okay, so this is from the folks over at 3D Hubs on their blog. They had this very cool article on just a couple tips.
Some aging techniques, yeah. So
so this is bronze, right? This is printed bronze, I guess, and that's 3 mil bronze here.
Yeah.
And here's what it can look like. This is what we would like. This is kind of what we experimented with, using sand, paper, to get this really nice shine.
Yeah, so one of the tips was that they actually did all the sanding underwater to avoid any heat up or any particles like sort of melting into there.
And it probably keeps it from being all chalky white. Just noticed that one too. Okay, so what else?
Some other tips that they used Brasso to sort of give it a polish, but it turned out to not be as well, as it was actually looked like it was protecting the metal particles and
it does the opposite of what
it was actually
you want it to look older, not new shiny.
Yeah, it was actually hindering the creation of the patina. So definitely don't want to try that if aging is what you're after.
Okay.
So after that, they started out with a mixture of salt and vinegar. They made a cool little box and some little string to hold it up so you can get the underside of that.
Okay.
Yeah, so elevate it.
You could just sort of douse or drizzle, what was it, vinegar?
Vinegar and salt is what they started out with.
Okay.
But what they figured out was that some of the smaller parts that had the salt on top actually looked like it was protecting the model, so they wiped some of that away, left some on there so they could create sort of a diverse pattern on there.
Okay.
And then they switched over to using ammonia and salt with a little bit of the vinegar still left in there.
Okay.
And this time they left the container out in the open sun. And it took about 5 days,
Whoa.
and this was the result.
That looks pretty aged.
Nice oxidated.
Oh, wow.
And after washing it off, this is what the final result looks like.
Very cool.
Nice green patina on there. And in case you're wondering, the model is actually an underwater hockey stick.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah.
I thought it was like a bone or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but
Like a
this
toilet
would
handle.
have turned out really good on something like a statue or a bus where you have a lot of crevices for the green to
Yeah,
actually
like if-
hide inside of.
Like
and
if you made a Titanic model, you could like make it look like it's fresh out of
been
the
underwater,
ocean.
yeah.
Yeah.
So very cool processing, aging techniques.
Yeah.
If you want to
Go from this to this with 5
Very
days of ammonia,
Yeah, if
and
you-
vinegar. And
if you want to
salt.
have something that doesn't look 3D printed at all, if you use this aging technique.
Pretty cool, yeah. Okay, you can check that out. There's a link in the description if you want the full article on that one. Okay, moving on. We have a pretty cool project. This is a sort of a mini Curiosity rover, and this was designed by Sergio. It's up on Thingiverse. Very cool project. It's actually using joysticks to move, to interact and move the rover over Bluetooth. So that's really cool. It's wireless there.
Cool.
Other things, it has a mechanical arm powered by a couple servos, so you can pick things up. It's got 6-wheel drive. It also has a Wi-Fi camera module, and it's pretty darn gnarly. Let's take a look at it in action here. Here we go.
Yeah, so you can go into FPV mode and sort of drive around.
Six-wheel drive, man.
Very cool.
A gimbal too for the little camera, so you can look around, control that. What'd you say, FPV?
Yeah. Then you
POV?
have a cool little claw. You can sort of look around at what you're picking up. And then, of course, you have light. So you can
Put some
sort of
lasers on that. Shoot
some laser on that, go around in the dark. You know,
Pick
put
up
a,
some
what is it,
stuff.
the yellow or the green lasers. You can pop some balloons around. Very awesome. The files are available for download.
Yeah.
He's still finalizing, I think, the code for it.
Yeah, I
And-
hope he releases it. There really wasn't much mentioned to that one, but we'll see. He designed it for a Russian electronics site, but it's cool that you can get the parts. So if you know a thing or two about electronics, you probably source the parts out, pick them up, and make this very cool project.
Very awesome work there.
Very cool. Okay, next up,
Next up, we have an optics bench.
from
Designed
Dan,
by Dan
from Shawnee Union. Very cool. The YouTube channel Shawnee Union. This was more of like a learning exercise. It's a pretty cool tool. It's meant for older camera lenses to sort of determine focal distances. So you got these two dowels that are elevated here on the two end caps there, and they sort of just slide in and out. Gives you sort of a way to figure out the focal distances. Yeah. I think it's a really good beginner project. So he's learning about measuring, learning about tolerances, printing settings, and hardware assembly. So using screws and other hardware bits to make a cool project like this. I think it's pretty cool. And he shouted out using our layer tutorials to figure out how to do the screws and standoffs here. So very, very cool. Really like it when we see people benefiting from our our efforts and tutorials and things. So very cool. Shout out to you, sir, and keep up the great work.
Very awesome learning project.
Oh yeah,
Combining
It's all
sort
about
of
the
old
learning,
school
guys.
and new school.
Oh yeah, I
Very
love
cool.
that aspect of it too. Okay, check that out. There's a link in the description too. Next up, we have some sound.
Yeah, so Angus from Maker's Muse actually posted sounds of
This is a
what
very clever
nightmares,
video.
what
Very
our
clever video,
what
right?
our nightmares are made out of. When we're deep into some CADing, we'll have something printing. We start hearing these sounds as
Oh yeah, you know right
freak
away.
out.
Yeah. So he goes through just a couple the typical things to listen for, not to look out for, but you can totally use your ears as an indicator to find out if your print's failing or not. So just a couple things here. Again, this is from Maker Muse.
Definitely watch the
Angus
whole
with this-
video
Yeah,
so you can listen to all of the
yeah.
dreadful.
Yeah, there's quite a bit here, and I like that he has the causes as well, so he tells you what causes these type of issues as well. So very cool. Angus doing the harming his printers,
So we don't have
so that
to.
we don't have to. Very good work, sir. Okay, let me turn that down.
Next up.
Next up, James Bruton has a very, very cool update to his R6 droid, Star Wars droid. So he's got two Adafruit mini audio effects soundboards, and he's going to use them with his wireless transmitter. He's got the Adafruit LCD shield up there, so you can have a little fancy menu and extra buttons so he can remotely trigger. He's also got some speakers here. So he's got the sound effects board without the amp. It comes with an amp, but his speakers already have amplifiers, so he's just going to repurpose those. And they already have a couple controls too, so you can take that apart and repurpose that. In CAD, he designed the holder, the little enclosure for the speaker, so you can mount it to the Droid. And one cool tip is, see the speaker mesh there? It's actually just infill material with no top and bottom layer, so you can actually get this very cool mesh without having to draw it in CAD. I like that. While he's prototyping, he was able to figure out how to get one serial bus to control both soundboards, so you can mix two. So what he's got going on is he's got the background music going, and then he's able to trigger different sound effects of the robot. So he's able to do that by checking out the guide on the Adafruit Learning System. Of course, we have libraries for the Adafruit Soundboard, so he picked that up, and he was able to reuse some of the demo code so that he can get some of the wireless values plugged in there, so you can trigger off the specific sound effects. Mounting it into the droid is pretty straightforward. There's lots of room in the droid, and you can move it around. It's very modular. He also has onboard controls for controlling the volume and things like that if he wants to mute it. But it's all accessible through his wireless transmitter. And then one of the last things he did, doing a little bit more animatronics, he designed these cool little arms so that they can pop out using the wireless transmitter. So he designed a little bracket for the micro servo, and you printed them out in orange so that it matches the R6. So that's cool. You can print it in orange. And he just used a bent wire, so that it connects from the printed part to the servo horn. And one cool little thing, he didn't want it to fly out all the way out. So thinking about children, and he's going to bring this to conventions. A lot of kids are going to be close up to it. You don't want it to hit someone's face, so he purposely is making it open out a certain degree. So very, very cool update from James Bruin. Be sure to check him out on YouTube. Every Tuesdays and Fridays, he has a new update to his big projects. Very cool.
Definitely check out the whole episode too. It sounds like a Star Wars DJ.
Oh yeah, it sounds really cool.
Very cool with all the sound effects happening.
All right, that's gonna be it for the news. Again, you can check that out on the blog, and we got them linked below. Now we're gonna switch gears over to Shop Talk. Talk a little bit about some new products that are in the shop. Let's start off with this one. Here we go. Check it out. We got an AstroPrint kit, sort of a bundle. So this is if you're just getting into 3D printing and your printer doesn't have a built-in wireless capabilities, this kit will set you up, get you started to get your printer on the Wi-Fi network. Very, very big deal for us. This is a derivative from Octoprint, and it's pretty much optimized for mobile devices, different screens. So you plug this in. You got the SD card, you pop it in. You don't even need a keyboard or mouse. It makes a Wi-Fi hotspot for you, so you connect to it, and you just load it through the browser, and you can configure it from there and add your printer. You just plug your printer into one of the USB ports. It works with USB cameras out of the box, so you can do some time-lapse and stuff. Very, very cool. It's got everything you need, so the Wi-Fi dongle, the power adapter, and even some stickers.
Yeah, some things you don't need is the monitor, because it has very awesome scripts that set everything up for you.
As soon as you plug it in and turn it on, it'll set everything up for you. So very, very cool. It's in the Adafruit shop now, and you can get yourself 10% off your order.
That's right. Use discount code PowerBoost. Expires at 11:59 p.m. Only works on physical items at Bits and Atoms. So it doesn't work on software or gift certificates.
Yep. And this software is free. If you folks already have a Raspberry Pi and an SD card and the Wi-Fi adapter, you can just get the image from astroprint.com. It's free to download.
That's right.
Very cool. Okay. Next up, we got a new printer.
That's right. We got
update to printer.
Updated PrinterBot Metal Plus, this time with a heated bed.
Okay. So this is now the standard. PrinterBot's no longer offering the PLA cold bed form?
Yeah, they're discontinuing the non-heated bed, and this is now the standard option now. So a couple little updates are a couple of strain relief for the wires in a couple of areas.
Okay.
A lot of requested feature there. And then we have access to the reset button on the board, so a little bit of redesign on the case there.
Okay.
And then, of course, we got cool new little logos up there.
We got a logo, folks. We got the PB logo. That was very important to get. How about the bed? It's
bed
capped
is
on
now heated, so you're gonna have to switch over to using capped on. I think you get the big rolls over on Amazon.
Could you use a heated glass? I'm sure somebody's.
Oh yeah, you can use heated glass too. Yeah. So use
just figure out
10 by
how
10 by 10.
Just figure out how to get it mounted on there, and you'll be good. Okay,
and
so that's
there's
up.
the cable there for the power brick too, since you're gonna need
this
more
little guy
power.
here?
Yeah.
Interesting. This
So
is
very
the
cool.
back, right?
Check it out.
Okay.
Again, you can use the discount code on that to get your 10% off.
Okay. I'll show it one more time at the end. Okay, next up we have Pocket Pie Girl. This is the kit. So this has everything you need to make your Pocket Pie Girl, yeah, and more. It has extra buttons, so you got extra 6mm buttons, 12mm, and even the smaller, slim 6mm version. Of course, you got the amplifier, the Power Boost 1000C, the speaker, a slide switch, the SD card, the Pi cable. Now note that the Pi cable is actually the 26 pin, not the 40 whatever pin. I think 46, yeah, 46 pin one, 48, one of those. The Raspberry Pi 2 and B plus and A plus, they have the bigger pin, GPIO pin, but because the screen is so small, it uses the 26 pin on the side here, right? So pretty cool. And of course the 2000 milliamp battery, which is really cool, and of course the Raspberry Pi A plus. It's at the moment, I think it is out of stock. We're still waiting to get the speakers in, but keep your eye on it, folks. You can, of course, sign up for the email to get notified when it is available. Very cool. Of course, the case is not included. You guys have to print it yourself or have somebody print it for you or send it out to somebody to have it printed for you.
Well, check your local library. They might have.
Yeah, check your local library or your hackerspace. I'm sure they'll be happy to help you guys out. And there it is, Pi Girl.
Very cool.
Okay. Another thing, we got bamboo fill.
That's right. We talked about this a couple weeks back.
Oh, yeah.
We have it in stock now.
It's still in the /new, adafruit.com/new, so I figured I'd throw it in there. And folks, it looks like some of you may not have seen a video we put together. Pedro, you put this video together. This is a really cool sort of on Sandy.
Post-processing techniques.
Post-processing techniques.
We'll actually talk about more of this in the later episode once we're done.
Yeah, I just wanted to give
releasing all these other projects.
So you talk about printer settings.
We'll talk about what it works on, the cleanup, the staining stuff that we use on it, the some of the processes and techniques that we use to give it that nicely stained wood look. So definitely check out the full video. It's already on the product page.
Yeah, so check out the product page. That's right. You can get early access to it right now. It'll be out it'll be public on YouTube in the coming weeks, but we just want to let you folks know that you can check it out now. If you're really interested in bamboo fill, it's on. There's the video for you guys.
Yeah,
and there's a guide too.
Yep.
So it's all out there. Okay, I think that's going to be it for this segment. This was Shop Talk. And now we're going to move on to the next segment, which is Q&A. We're going to answer your YouTube questions.
We had a ton of questions from the last two videos.
Man.
So let's go ahead and run through those.
Sure, give me a sec here. All right, the first question is right here. This one's from Julia, asking on the how to polish copper fill and bronze fill filament video. It'd be helpful to know how much media you use. Fill the barrel 50%, 10%, or 25%? Or the amount of screws by weight? Very good question. Pedro, you take this one.
Yeah, so we actually discussed this in the polishing video. We say that it's actually dependent on the type of design, how big it is, the intricacy of it. Is it delicate? So something like with a smaller design that's like completely flat, you might get away with using like number 4 to number 6 size screws at about maybe, start off at 10%. And then see, keep checking on it like every half hour to see what the progress of that is. If you see that it's, being kind of slow and sort of getting the polish on, add a little bit more and add like maybe 25% more inside. And if it's like a larger sort of print and it has like, a lot of like little tiny crevices and details, you're going to want to add a mixture of like number 8 size screws along with like number 2s or maybe even possibly double zeros, the itty bitty little screws so you can get into all the little crevices to sort of polish all of that out. So it's completely dependent on your model, the type of model that it is, your barrel, and if it's another thing you also want to check on is if it's generating a lot of heat, you want to sort of use less medium. You actually were doing a copper version of the Super Game Pi, and it
it barely fit in the barrel, and because of that, even with little bits of screws, it wasn't able to get everything. And then when I added too much screws, I'm talking like 50%, trying to submerge it into the medium, it bent everything up. It heated everything up, it cracked, and it held up, but man, it had this variable sort of, this side's polished, but this side isn't polished, so I just had to chuck the thing. I would either need a bigger barrel with more medium, or periodically check on it every half hour just to make sure it doesn't bend. And you could bend it back, of course, but it was sort of,
another thing
bent beyond belief, if you could say.
Another thing that we didn't try too is that people add water and liquid in there sort of keep the heat down. So
we didn't know how much material to use, how much medium to use. When we first started out, you just start little and then sort of work your way up and experiment. That's really what it's about. So if you find out a better, percentage that'll work for you, you can let us know. Or
it's definitely dependent on the model. If you told us, you were doing, I don't know, like the Louise Dragon or something like that.
Aria.
We did Aria the Dragon. I think we used about 10% on that one, just because delicacy of it. There's wings that
Yeah, and it was printed with 2 shells, so that's why it broke.
Yeah,
but
definitely dependent on your model.
Okay. Next question. This is from John Smith on the portable wireless charger for Apple Watch. What tool are you using to loosen the print from the build plate? I have no idea what it's called. Yeah, is it called a palette knife? Is it called what is it actually called?
Yeah, so this is a little palette knife, I think, that they use in like painting.
Okay.
And we actually use 2. And then we use the, I think it's like a putty knife. You can get these on Amazon. We'll post the links, the description on there. So this one is pretty flat, almost sharp. It can get like the most stuck prints off your bed.
It's so thin, yeah.
You just got to be careful. I did cut myself a little bit earlier there.
Careful.
So the way that I actually do with very stubborn prints, so I'll go in there with this little tool first, and then we'll use the super flat plastic side of this, and we'll just get that underneath there, sort of start lifting off the print. So you actually have to use both of these, and when you have a print that's not so super tight, you can use the little putty knife.
This reminds me on the building a droney trophy video. I actually show the technique of going with one and then the other and then popping it off that way. So if you want to see how that's done, you can see it there.
These you can get at Amazon. I think they come in like packs of 6 for like $24. I think these are probably like $7 each.
Okay.
But totally worth it to have a couple of these around, especially if you have a lot of printers.
Oh yeah.
And they have one at each printer. But very cool.
Great question.
Tools
it's
that we
definitely
use
a really good tool that we use all the time.
Tools.
It helps. Yeah, it helps you, of course, get the print off the bed, and of course, helps you from breaking that tape if you're using blue tape. Okay. Thanks for the question, John. Next up, this one's from Radu. Why Apple and not an Android smartwatch?
That's just what we had laying around. People have said that the charger does work on the Moto 360.
We saw it work. We're watching This Week in Tech with Leo Laporte, and he just threw his. They're doing the unboxing when they just got it. He just threw his Moto charger onto the charger, and it worked right away. Yeah. So very cool. It'll work.
Just what we had around.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll work with other Qi. It's a Qi standard, so it should work with most of them. Thank you for the question. Next up, on the same video, portable wireless charger. Would this work with another smartwatch? Yeah.
Yes, it would. Yeah. We saw it. They did it live when they were doing the unboxing.
And there's a couple tech blogs that are reporting that it is standard, and some people are doing some more extensive tests than us, but check it out. It's on there. Okay, here's another one. This is next question on the Raspberry Pi, Game Boy, Pocket Pi Girl. How are you going to play Super Mario with just 2 buttons?
Well, like
totally,
before,
you totally can.
Yeah, all the buttons up here.
It might not feel the best. Might not feel the best, but yeah.
Or you can get the updated model too.
Yeah, we got the updated model for you folks.
Keep forgetting to highlight. These are all buttons.
Yeah, those are buttons. You can use them.
I think these are wired to this too, right?
No, they're not. They're actually separate. So you're good. Yeah.
Cool.
You're good, man.
So you have a ton of buttons up here.
We got a ton of buttons, yeah. So more buttons. Everybody wants more buttons. I got you buttons.
The updated files on our learn.adafruit.com.
That's right. Okay, thank you for the question, though. Next up, this one's on the portable wireless charger. This is from Levi. What I would use more is something that did this, but also had a USB connector so that they can charge at the same time. Any ideas or tips on how that would work? Yeah. This must have been last week, right before you made this.
Yeah, so we already talked about it at the beginning of the show. Get the updated files
Damn, wham.
for all these guys.
Churgito saying hello. Yes,
Yeah,
I
so
can
you got to
do more.
update, like we said in the light earlier, you got to update the
I really like that you can do two at the
case.
same time.
Yeah, this is perfect for traveling around, and of course you can now have it as a little wearable since, you know, it can get lost in your pocket or you want to dig around. It's a lot better if you can just have this on your belt.
Yeah.
This actually sticks a little bit.
It's actually replacing our battery banks that we have from the shop.
Oh my God, yeah.
We actually like having it on our hip here like that.
Because it's like about half the size. Battery banks are
you know, it's smaller.
about that long.
It's just so damn stylish.
Yeah. And of course you can change the
Churgito saying what's up.
the design out.
Okay, let's get an answer to that one. Next up, this one is from Larissa on the Pocket Pi Girl. Do you know if I could make this same console inside of the Rasp BMO case? Do you think it would work? I really like the look of that project, but I also would like to follow your guys' tutorial. So the Raspberry Pi BMO case came out I think maybe last month. Very, very cool case. I haven't looked at the internals of it too much, but I'm pretty sure it probably wouldn't work out of the box. You'd have to definitely modify the CAD.
There's no way, since the screen that we're using on the Pocket Pi just came out. So you know,
it's not
they
gonna
didn't
work.
have access
So
to
it would take a little bit of substantial amount of work. But I'm sure somebody's going to do it. I'm hoping the creator of that project is thinking about updating it, because that'd be really, really cool. And of course, it's a little bit bigger. So now with the Raspberry Pi A+, you can get that thing really small. So that's cool. Great question. Next up, this one's from Skulls941. Hey guys, big fan. I just picked up one of my favorite board games, and I was thinking, why use 2 dice when I can use just 1? Yeah, but I was thinking, I was having trouble actually designing a 36-sided die in Autodesk, and I know you guys are always up for the challenge, so I was hoping, could you show some of the magic on next week's show? Thanks for your time, Spencer. This is cool. You know,
so this
last
one is
week's
already
meeting,
in progress.
Last week's meeting, we were meeting with Phil B, and he's like, I got this decahedral thing that he downloaded off Thingiverse, but he had an idea of using our new 9DOF sensor and of course NeoPixel LEDs to make it so that it knows what side it's on. And so we're tossing around some ideas. So we're actually thinking about it. It is a very challenging shape to make. He had his whack at it too. And he made the point that
the joke was that their logo.
The logo of Mesh Mixer has that dice-looking thing, and well, you can't kind of make that. So
a little bit difficult. So we're gonna have to use maybe a different program or figure out some other techniques to build it inside there. But this is already a project that is in the works.
It's cooking. It's in the works. So look out for that one. And thanks for the question. That's really cool that we're working on that one. Okay, next up. This one is on just a Hangout video. Last week's Hangout, or 2 weeks ago, something like that. Can you please elaborate on Z-Probe versus manual calibration? I have a Printerbot Simple, the 1405 model, and a Printerbot Plus, so I have only worked with Z-Probes. Would it make sense to get rid of the probe and convert a printer to manual? Thanks a lot.
So this is actually going to be quite a bit of work since there's no end stops on there. You're going to have to get some of those.
That's the way it works, you know? I mean, the Z-Probe, it's going to go down until it thinks that it needs to stop. If there's something flaky in the Z-Probe, man, we've
have a Z-Probe.
We've had it where it just grinds into the aluminum bed and scratches it up.
Yeah, so there's going to be quite a bit of upgrades to the bed you're going to have to do, first of all, since there's no sort of like springs on there to, you know, sort of trim the bed.
So you need to come up with your own mechanism for the bed. And because the bed's moving, you'd have to make sure that there's clearances and things in place. And then you'd have to add end stop triggers and then figure out how to get that into the firmware.
Yeah, it was in there before. I think they just, it's turned off right now.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that's the biggest thing is the bed.
Yeah.
You can barely put a little clips to hold on, plates and stuff.
It'll crash right into it. Yeah. So anyway, it's... I would stick with the Z-Probe. That's just the way. Just one tip I could give you is just that before you start a print, always double check that you have homed the printer. Make sure you've homed all the axes and that it's purged and that you watch that first layer, because if you don't watch that first layer, you know, chances are that if it's too stock, you're gonna have a bad time. So always double check to make sure that the Z-Probe is doing what it's supposed to do.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks for the question, though. Very good one. Next up. This one is on the DIY sample player. You know, this is, the Trellis Soundboard project. This is probably Lamar's when she was testing that project. You might have missed the project we did. If you go back on there and look at the learning system or Adafruit channel, you can find that we made the Trellis 3D printed soundboard that tutorial and project has a full circuit diagram, full assembly instructions, so you should check that out. All the parts are there. You don't need to 3D print it. You can have it in a, another enclosure and stuff. So, pretty cool project. I really like that one.
Yeah, cool little enclosure that has spots for the speakers.
Yep, I think you missed that one. That'll remind me. I'll probably go in this video and add that in the description. So thank you for that. Okay, next question. We still got a bunch. Okay, this one's on the Touch Pi, portable Raspberry Pi. Hey, I was wondering, can you do it with the 2.2-inch display? Because I'm wanting to do it to go into my Iron Man suit that I'm making. I found a program to make voice recognition. Very cool. So this would be perfect if I could fit it in. Yeah, I think this would be really cool. So the Touch Pi is using a different screen, but it's using the Raspberry Pi A+. So I think the form factor is right on. You would have to update the CAD, but what you could do is I already have, actually no, I don't have the 2.2 modeled. So you'd have to sort of take the 2.4 and sort of mess with it and take some measurements to make it work with the 2.2. A little bit of work, but I think it would totally work. Yeah, I think it's a cool project. If you get it working, definitely let us know. We would love to see your Iron Man suit with a Raspberry Pi. That'd be cool.
So awesome.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for the question. Next up, moving along. This is from Tachiro on the 3D printing NinjaFlex filament video. I need help with supports. I want to use NinjaFlex to make small toys like Mr. NinjaFlex, you know, the little guy that's in the promo videos. But my toys are going to need some support. I'm afraid NinjaFlex itself won't be strong enough for the support material, even if I print it at a really high infill. Also afraid that NinjaFlex will melt onto any supports that I try to put on my object. Any suggestions?
Actually, supports does work. It's not going to melt on it, and it's super easy to cut.
It's easy to cut and pull off. I remember printing. I think it was the VR headset goggles that had support. And we were able to. It feels cool. Like the support material, it feels like a fin or something really squishy. So it'll definitely work. It's definitely strong enough.
Oh yeah.
It sticks to itself really well, and you can pull it right apart. So
it'll definitely work. Try it out.
Definitely work. Check it out and let us know. Okay. Next up, this one's from Robert on the portable wireless charger for Apple Watch. Would the universal wireless charging transmitter, this is product ID 2162, will it work for this project? And then he links to the product page. Well, we'll do a quick demo here and see if it works. It should.
Okay, so here is the little Qi charger that we have in the shop that he was talking about. Very cool little small little guy.
Yeah, let me zoom
and it does work with the Nexus tablets. You can see there, if I can get it into the proper spot.
It's like in the middle somewhere. There it is.
Yeah,
so we actually didn't even know that our Nexus 7 had wireless charging capability. But it does, and it works with our universal. I mean, it's in the name, it's universal.
Yeah, but with the Apple Watch, though, we think it's something to do with the coil. Maybe it's too big.
Notice the blinking.
Recognizes it, but
it
doesn't charge.
Yeah.
So what we're thinking is that it probably needs to have the little Apple whatever chip that's on the power boost.
The resistors, yeah.
The resistors that allow it to charge. So this will work on the iPads or any iOS devices. That's probably why. It could be that or simply the size of the coil, but yeah, it charges right away with the one that has the power boost or whatever chip is on there that is allowing it to charge. So maybe it could be the size of the coil, but it detects something is on there, but it just doesn't allow it to charge. Of course, it does work with your tablet devices or whatever. I'm guessing, I don't know, it could be one of those things. But yeah, it does work with other devices. If I can ever get it right. There you
go. Okay. Very cool. Thank you for the question. Next up, we're still struggling through here. Okay, next question. This one's on the Pocket Pi Girl buttons layer by layer video, last week's video. I've been following this project for a few days now, and I really want this to be my first project, but I do want 4 buttons. However, as I mentioned, this is my first project. I have no experience with editing 3D models. I couldn't do this alongside you, let alone create the 2 additional buttons. I was planning on just sending the 3D printed stuff out to a printer operator that I found on 3D Hubs. Is there any way you could post the model for this so that on somewhere so that somebody can decide if they want to, I guess, model it and tweak it? Thanks so much. This project is amazing. Well, thank you. This was one of the comments that sort of validated, okay, I should probably make a 4-button version. So Like we were showing you, we just can't get enough showing you. The forward buttons are right there. It's on my thing. It's on my Instagram too. I'm like, more buttons.
And of course, you already made a version that has also left and right
if you want a different
nice giant
build for it,
3.5 screen, yeah, this is pretty big.
Screen. Pretty cool.
Boom.
Hopefully that answers your question. Yeah, we listen to you folks, and if you ask nicely, you'll get it. It makes sense that we'll do it. Okay, next up. This was from Blazing Bad Boy on the Pocket Pi Girl Raspberry Pi Game Boy. Make it so that there's a wire between two of them to play 2 players. Okay, so this is probably...
Not as easy as that. What this would require would be software.
Yeah, so I did see a couple weeks ago, a fellow is working on modifying the emulator to do that, to emulate the two. It runs on one machine though, which is like, that kind of defeats the point. So it probably wouldn't work, so... It's Adam asks on the Pocket Pi Girl, can I just pay someone to make this because I don't know about Pi or have the equipment? Well, there's somebody on Etsy who is offering a fully assembled one and also offering the 3D printed parts, which I think is okay. It's definitely fine in our book. I mean, it's an open license, but you can have somebody kind of shady maybe assemble it for you, but the point of this project, folks, is to really build it yourself. We really think that the sort of joy and the purpose of this is to build it yourself. We're makers, right? We like making way more than consuming the thing, so it's actually way more cooler to make it. If you just want the end result, you just want to play the thing.
There's plenty of them on
you could
eBay
probably purchase something already made. I think Barnacle is tested quite a few different little game pads that has emulators and sorts. So there's products on the market that you could check out. This is about building it. So if you're not into building it, then this isn't the project for you. But thanks for the question anyway. It shows that what these projects are about. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Next up. Second to the last question from Hector on the, of course, the Pocket Pi Girl. Can you do this with Beagable Black? I want to know before I try it or go out and buy a Raspberry Pi. Thanks. Specifically, the enclosure is designed for the Raspberry Pi A+, so it's only going to work with that. If you want to use the Beagable Black, you kind of got to figure out your own CAD thing and figure out if the retro game image distro will even work on the Beagable Black. It might not. I'm sure some folks have a forum somewhere
and all that you need. So.
It could be the same. It could be all the same, but we don't know. So check it out. I'm sure you can wiki it out and find out if it works. But I would recommend, of course, the Raspberry Pi A+, because that's what the case is designed for. Thanks for the question, though. Okay, this is going to be the last question. This is from Victoria on the Pocket Pi Girl buttons, the layer by layer. Is it possible to add 12mm tactile buttons to the back of the Pocket Pi Girl case to act as the left and right shoulder buttons? If so, would you add the cutouts? How would you add the cutouts for the buttons in the 3D model? Well, this is really cool. Last week or 2 weeks ago, the Pocket Advanced, or the Pi Advanced I think it was called, pretty much did that, just that. It, of course, was the bigger Pi model, the bigger version of it. I think you have it here. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Which is, it's almost double the size. There's definitely a lot more room to work with. Even the thickness. Can you get the look at the thickness? It's it's thicker. So there's more clearances and more room to add those buttons. There really isn't much else room in the actual Pocket Pi Girl, so I don't think it'll work. But we did have a pretty interesting idea. If you were to use conductive filament, you could probably make a touch sensing pad and then just make it so that your fingers make the ground so that you can sort of just touch it. That would be pretty cool. Because then you wouldn't because then you wouldn't need all that clearance for an actual button.
Yeah,
you need somewhere the button to mount to. So it's a little bit of a work.
I mean, you could do that with copper tape as well.
Probably copper tape too.
But then again, the capacitive little Pi hat we have the Raspberry Pi is gonna dramatically increase the thickness of this since it goes on top. So when you actually think about it, the circuitry for that might make things big and not work.
It might work if you guys can figure it out and make it work. Please let us know. We'll definitely share it on the show. I think that's the last question. That's going to be it for the question, folks. And
don't forget
coupon code. All the stuff we talked about today. Most of the stuff you can pick it up on the Adafruit shop and get 10% off using Power Boost. in celebration of Chargito, the wireless portable charger.
That's being used in a lot of the projects
It's
now.
a lot of the projects. It's in the Pocket Pi Girl. It's in this project.
And before it, the
Power
PowerBoost
Boost.
500C is what was powering a little Touch Pi, a lot of the little computers.
Okay, so before we end the show, of course, we want to link you guys with some links to check out more projects on the Adafruit Learning System. You can check out a bunch of community projects on the Adafruit Google+. We also have a show and tell every Wednesday and Thursday. Be sure to check that one out. Every Thursday is 3D Thursday. Pedro, where can they find us elsewheres?
It's actually blogged at adafruit.com. Every Thursday we have a ton of blog posts up there, a lot of the things we don't cover on the show. And of course, you can get links to all the stories we talked about in the description below.
Okay, that's going to be it, folks. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back next week, of course, with more stuff to show, more answers. If you want us to answer your questions, all you got to do is drop them in our YouTube comments. We'll take a look at them, gathering them up for this week. And that's going to be it, folks. Don't forget that coupon code, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.
See ya.